27 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 4,000 yards. Would you sign up for that season from Bo Nix right now? We're going to break it down on the DNVR Broncos podcast starting right now. Bodacious. Will Bo have a miraculous season this year? I think so. We're going to break down the DNVR Broncos podcast live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores. And we are the DNVR Broncos podcast. Ryan Koenigsberg to my left, Henry Chisholm to my right. You hear behind the camera. And boys, you guys are smelling minty right now.
Yeah, we got
minted.
Yeah, one pre-show mints.
Wow. You're really making it sound like you have like 10 of them in.
You can tell?
Did you take 10?
No, just the one.
Oh, did you say just take one before?
Before the show, our awesome intern Logan said something about shout out H-Town, and Yaya said, "So you like Oklahoma City?"
Wow. We're in mid show form.
Yeah, because we've already done an hour show.
Yes, we have. That's a little sneak peek preview.
So long as you pick one or the other, it works.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Now I'm hearing
be
the
both.
other show
Sneak
play right
preak.
now. Sneak preek of the Preakness. Well, we recorded a show that's going to drop on Friday. It was a fun show. We broke
When
down
is
the
the
Broncos'
Preakness?
quarter-century defensive team, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And today we're going to talk about Bo Nix, but first, fellas.
Well, because we're going to be in the community on Friday.
Yes, exactly, at my alma mater,
Yes. Do
University of Denver.
they have a plaque for you?
They should.
They should.
A
We could
little
put one
star. Yeah, thank you. Please do that.
I saw, for example, there's like a big map in Coors Field of Coors Field, which is very helpful. But somebody took a little sell the team Rockies logo. So it's like sell the on the top and then team on the bottom. Put it right on top of like the Rockies logo on the thing.
Wow.
You can see how long it lasts before somebody like,
That's a good
hey,
one.
you put that, yeah. We
By
could
the
see a
way-
little plaque up at DU.
Yes.
If you ever get the opportunity to go to a sporting event with hundreds of people that have the same name as you, could not recommend more.
I bet.
It was like way more fun than it should be to just go to the Ryan meetup on Friday where
Yeah.
everyone was named Ryan.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that would just singly make it that fun.
Allie had such a great point when I was talking to her about this last night, and she was just like, it just shows how much people just crave community.
Yeah.
Like, you just get around a bunch of people with the same name, you're like, this is our thing.
Yeah.
And then you have a great time.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
What do you guys talk about?
Just being named Ryan. No, that's the icebreaker, and then you talk about anything. Like, most of the people weren't even from Colorado. They flew here just for this.
Oh my gosh.
They were handing out first Rockies game certificates to like a ton of them.
Easy to fill them out for them though,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Just Ryan.
Quite a few girl Ryans in the mix.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't approve.
Wow.
You're gatekeeping.
Wow.
Yeah, no. We talked about this a little bit last week.
Don't approve.
But I think Ryan's one. That's just a boy name. Charlie, just a boy name.
Yeah, that's definitely not it.
No, but I know that people name girls that, but they shouldn't. What else?
So,
What other names?
Last night, wait, really quick. When speaking of names, last night Allie asked me what I thought of a certain name. I don't name discriminate in public, only in private. And she was like, "What do you think of this as a name for a girl?" And I just went on. I was like, "That's the dumbest name I've ever heard in my life." And then she was recording me, and she was like, "I'm gonna send this to my friend who sent me that." And I was like, "No, you can't send that." I was like, "I would not have said that if I knew you. Like, if I knew the person whose idea it was around."
I need to know. So it's for their baby, I would assume.
Yeah,
Man, could you imagine? That would kill that person.
yeah.
Have Orion roast a person's name like
Anyway, shout out to all the Ryans. That was
Yeah.
really fun, and everyone who came to Friday Rooftop Club.
that. And Ryan McMahon for hitting a home run
Yes.
for all the Ryans.
Which all the Ryans had already bet on. That was the first thing I said. Like when I got to the Ryan meet, I was like, "Did you guys all get your bet in at Bet 365 for Ryan McMahon home run?" And they were all like, "Oh yeah, of course." What do you mean? I was like, "Okay." I thought it was like my idea. Like no, everyone had this idea.
What was
then he
the
did
odd?
It was plus 360.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and then he
Congratulations.
hit an absolute bomb. I think it was 467 feet.
Wow.
And he pointed to the Ryans.
Well, that is so cool. I love it. And I love this conversation that we have on store for us, or on deck. On deck for us.
It was one of those
on
things
deck.
where, again, just choose one
Yep.
and you're fine.
Yeah. I'm just trying to be correct now.
On deck,
because-
good Rockies reference.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so on deck, we've got Bo Nix's stats. So ESPN's Mike Clay, every single year right around this time, puts out his projections. It's kind of sicko stuff in a...
Bless you.
Excuse
Oh,
me.
jeez.
Wow.
He's allergic to a second show.
You need a moment?
Oh,
Take
that
your time,
first,
man.
that first show killed me, I guess. But ESPN's Mike Clay does this sicko thing where he puts out projections for every single team and then every single player and then compares every single player to every single player in the NFL. It is in-depth as you can be, and it's sicko in the best possible way. So let's dive in, and let's start with the quarterback position. Let's start with what he has Bo Nix doing. And how we're going to do this, we're going to start with Bo Nix's stats. We're going to talk about it, break it down. Then we're going to say, okay, let's see how it compares to the rest of the NFL, and then see if we would sign up for those stats now that we know kind of how Mike Clay has this going right now. So let's dive in to Bo Nix's stats right now. And as Ivan says, Henry and RK look like twins.
Thank God you're not wearing a black short sleeve.
Not today. Yep.
You
Also,
guys can
Also, the
include me
brim
in
of
the
his
color
hat is
coordinator
blue,
next time.
not black.
yeah. Learn your
Very
colors,
similar,
Ivan.
though. No, Ivan, I agree with you. You
Also,
are correct.
Leonard says his name sucks.
Great name, Leo.
Yeah. Go by Leo. That'd be sick.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I think that could be
another
misleading. But yeah.
Oh, if you went by that, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so let's dive in. Here are Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham's stats. And here we go with Bo Nix. Plays all 17 games. Great start. He throws for 3,949 yards.
Sean would never allow this.
Wow.
He's getting to
27.
4,000.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. 27 passing touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He runs for 418 yards and has 4 touchdowns on the ground. Jarrett Stidham adds 3 completions for 39 yards and 2 rushing yards as well.
How does he do the Jared Stidham projections?
I have no idea.
That's crazy. I hope it's got to be just a mathematical equation. He's not actually projecting Jarrett Stidham to go for 3 for 6 for 39 yards this
Yeah.
year. So what do you think of those Bo Nix stats?
I have an issue with one category and one category alone.
Oh,
Wow.
it
Too many
is the-
picks.
Okay.
Too many picks. I'll take 31 total touchdowns. I'd like more. I'll take around 4,000 yards. I'd like more.
Yeah.
12 interceptions is you're going to be up there with the league leaders.
Ding, ding, ding.
And I don't like that.
Yeah, very fair.
And looking at all of them,
No. We're doing that next. We're just taking Bo Nix's stats blind. Yeah, I just said that, didn't I? You
well,
hear?
I mean,
Yes,
it's just
thank
for
you.
perspective. The
That's
other
what we're going to do in
interceptions.
the next segment.
Oh, okay. Blindly, I think it's fine.
Blindly, I don't.
I-
I'm just like, do you listen?
Well, I mean,
I talk
I'm
about
just-
it before the show. I just teed
well,
it
yeah,
up
but I mean, we're not
ago.
digging into like, what do you think of CJ Stroud's? It's like, it's just, I think that's kind of in line.
I'm actually surprised with how okay you are with it, Ryan. I thought you were going to say no to every single part of it, but I think you're being a realist, which I think is good. I'd probably take the passing yards. Touchdowns, you're going back from what you did as a rookie.
Yeah, but what if they run for a bunch more?
No,
touchdowns?
that's fair. And then you throw in the 4 rushing touchdowns, so he actually has over 30 touchdowns total. So I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. But you're absolutely right. The 12 interceptions you can't have. And as people in the comments are saying, 36 sacks. Yeah, that's just simply not going to happen. So I would not take that.
Is there like a blurb somewhere from Mike Clay that explains how this is all?
I'll blurb it up.
Is that allowed, Zach? Is that safe for another segment, or can we use that now?
Oh my
Is there a board
gosh,
segment?
you guys are brutal right now. Oh my gosh, hit me with the blurb.
Okay, this is the understanding the graphics blurb, which I
Thank
think
you.
is probably the one.
Yeah.
The
Should've
numbers
started here.
shown are projections for the 2025 NFL regular season, weeks 1 to 18.
Thank you.
Some columns may not seem to be adding up correctly, but this is simply a product of rounding. The totals you see are correct. These are 17 game projections, which is why fringe players have little to no projection. Lost me there. Injuries will surely have an impact, so if you're comparing these to player props, be sure to factor in that risk. As a baseline, consider removing about 2 games worth of stats for quarterbacks, receivers, and tight ends, about 3 games for running backs.
Wow.
Looking for sortable projections by position or category?
No.
Check out the projections tab inside the ESPN fantasy game. Team stat rankings is where each team. Okay, these gotta get more interesting. Unit grades is not related to fantasy football. It's an attempt.
Can I just get how did we get here? How did these numbers?
What
are we basing this off of?
Note that prior to the official release of the NFL schedule, the schedule shown includes the corrected known opponents with orders.
So
I think the answer is no.
these are just off the dome.
There is have a question. Contact Mike Clay on Twitter.
Shout out to actually. So I did my best, Henry. There, I didn't listen to anything he just said.
Good.
Can you repeat all of that? It actually sounds like you don't.
Let
need
me
to
do it
repeat
off
any
the
of that.
top of my head.
Last year when we did this, Mike Clay watched our shows. So shout out to Mike
tagged him
Clay
again.
for
Mike, help!
help us. We want to know how you came up with these.
I want to see how his projections compare to Twitter's AI projections.
Oh, I like that. So throw that out. And when you do that, Ryan, and when you build that up, this would be it wouldn't be a bad season by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, it'd be a good season, but it would be a little bit disappointing because it would mean that he didn't take a jump from last season at all, from his rookie season. I expect a big jump, even a small jump would be good, but he just wouldn't be taking a jump, and so it'd be disappointing. But not majorly disappointing because it'd still be a good season. 27 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 4 rushing touchdowns. I do expect him to take a jump. That's why I would not sign up for this blindly before we compare it to the rest of the NFL. That's why I would not sign up for this right now. So, Ryan, I know you don't like the interceptions, but would you sign up for this right now?
No.
Okay. Henry?
He also projects 9.8 wins. Call that 10. If I guess signing up today, probably not.
Okay.
But I think it'd be pretty good. You've put up about the same numbers as last year, win 10 games. Avoided the step backward. I think that's probably a pretty good result.
You didn't really do a full blind ranking. You brought in wins, but okay. Okay.
Oh.
But we're all saying
I don't know
no.
what. I'm on the page with his numbers.
We're all saying no.
No.
Okay.
You want to know what Grok has to say about this?
I would love to know what Grok has to say about this.
4,000 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 66% completions, 95 passer rating, 450 yards rushing, and 5 touchdowns.
That is a little step forward.
It is a little
from
step
last year,
forward,
which I
and
like.
you get to 35 total touchdowns and 10 interceptions.
Yep.
I can live with the 10 interceptions, which is still a little higher than I'd like.
Yeah, and it would be better than last year, though. And that's what I want to see is a step in the right direction. So would you sign up for that right now?
Yes.
Yeah, I would too. Henry, are you signing up for 35 total touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 4,000 yards, 66% completion?
I might still roll the dice.
Okay.
Again,
that's
it's a tiny bit better
You're
than this,
dangerous.
but if I'm taking that, I might as well take this too.
Okay, I like that. What if we found out that like Mike Clay was just using Grok for all of these? What if it dialed out?
He's watching.
Just kidding, Mike. We really like your work.
What if Mike
and
is
it
Gronk?
really helps us go through this off season. So appreciate Grok. Yeah, not Gronk. Grok. We appreciate you, Mike. And Henry, I'm going to allow you to look at other quarterbacks and not just do a blind ranking after I give a shout out to our friends over at First Bank, because whether you're on the road, at home, or somewhere in between, First Bank makes banking easy, convenient, and secure. Their mobile banking app allows you to check balances, pay friends, and manage your money anytime, anywhere. And here's the best part. Open a new First Bank checking account today, and you could earn $300. That's 3 Benjamins. First Bank is all about helping you stay on track. Their tools make it simple to stay in control of your finances without the hassle. No matter where life takes you, First Bank gives you the freedom to bank how and when it works best for you. So if you're ready for a better banking experience and the chance to earn a little extra, head to efirstbank.com/bonus. That's efirstbank.com/bonus to open your account and bank how you want, when you want, with First Bank by going to efirstbank.com/bonus. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC.
And reminder that we are going to London. So if you want to come with, you can go to True Fan Travel. They've got a whole package set up. It's the same package, I believe, that we're going to be kind of going along with. A 5-night stay at a luxury hotel, private tours, pub meetups, a pep rally, tickets to the game, so much more. It should be a lot of fun. It sounds like we've sold actually kind of a surprising number of these, a little more than I would have thought.
There's no number that would surprise me.
Okay, let me. Sales are going well. Is that a better way to say it? Yeah. Let me just take any personality out of what I'm saying.
There's some.
Yeah, seats are becoming. People, they want us to make these personal, not just talk how a TV whatever.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but that's why people are buying them. So the point is, the tickets aren't limited yet, but things are going well. So in the future, they might be. So if you want to come with, go check it out. That's where I was going anyway before the interruption. Travel across the pond with us and with True Fan Travel. With the true diehards, experience London the DNVR way. Don't miss out on the ultimate fan experience. Book now at truefantravel.com.
And shout out to everyone that's tuning in with us. Hit us with a thumbs up. We really appreciate the support. One more shout out to give. We have our Die Hard sale that just dropped this morning, and it's going on right now. And this one is to really welcome in the NBA and NHL draft and free agency. We've got our Nuggets and Avs guys absolutely killing it over with content over at thednvr.com. So if you want all of that content, make sure to become a diehard. And this is going to take care of you for the entire next year. So you're going to get Broncos training camp. You're going to get Broncos season. You're going to get Broncos draft. You're going to get free agent. You're going to get everything. And the next year by going to thednvr.com for only $36. That's off the $79.99 annual pass. We're dropping down to $36 plus. You get a t-shirt. You get everything that's included with being a diehard. And when you become a diehard, make sure to jump in the Toyota chat and say hi. We want to give you a shout out and officially welcome you to the diehard family.
You know how they say, like, in relationships, like, oh, the first time you go on a vacation, like, that's when you'll really know if it's set up to last.
Yeah.
I'm just noticing that, like, we've now been podcasting today for, an hour and 30 minutes.
Yep.
Things are getting a little testy. It's a little, I don't know if
I can get testier.
I don't know if this podcast is marriage material.
Wow.
So imagine in London when we're doing this.
Yeah, we have done that though.
That is true.
And we made it though.
We did.
We did.
So is what they should actually say is it's the first test isn't when you go on vacation, it's when you podcast for over an hour together.
Should be.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done 3-hour podcasts.
Yes, we have. Shout out to the diehards that were providing all the comments to make it 3 hours. Okay, so Henry, let's dive into the comparison. How would this season, 27 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, compare to the rest of the NFL? You hear, and Logan, if you don't mind pulling up the quarterback stats.
So no starting quarterback is projected for less than 10 interceptions.
Seems like a flaw in the formula.
Apologies to Mike Clay.
Yeah.
So then the 12 isn't actually as bad as it seems.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Last year, 17 quarterbacks threw at least 10 interceptions. I guess like Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels did not, and they played every game. Bryce Young was at 9. All those two guys also at 9. Bryce Young was at 9, but only played 14 games. Stafford at 8, but only played 16. Maybe had 2-pick game left in him. Some other guys didn't play enough. So I wonder if everybody had played every game, there probably would have been like 5 at most, probably, who have less than 10 interceptions.
What Obviously, did Josh Allen throw?
Josh Allen. Scrolling.
At just a handful.
Josh Allen, he's a ways down the list. Okay, we got to Keenan Allen. Surely he threw more than Keenan Allen. I thought that I could see it faster. There he is. He threw 6.
Okay.
Caleb Williams only threw 6. That surprises me. Seems like
that was a positive for him.
Yeah, a rare positive.
Yeah.
So in these quarterback projections, as our producers had up on the screen right there, I don't know what this is based off of. Fantasy football points, maybe. But didn't you say when you were reading that, you said it's not based off fantasy?
No, the position group rankings are not.
Gotcha. Okay, but these are.
Yes.
According to fantasy, he's going to be the 10th best quarterback in the NFL with the stats that he's going to produce. So you would take that, which...
No, I'd take the ranking, not
you would take the 10th.
to get there.
Yeah.
Take the destination, not the journey.
So I'm going to tell you the guys that are above him. Again, it's just fantasy, but fantasy kind of is stats just all combined into one. So Jaden Daniels is number 1 on this list. Then you have Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy, and Kyler Murray before Bo Nix.
So
Interesting.
Last year, Bo was 7th in fantasy points for quarterbacks. Wow. But again, there's injuries in there.
Sure.
So like Jalen Hurts finished 8 points behind him. Jalen Hurts also missed a couple games. So I'd say, again, like with all these, they seem pretty much like they're basically last year's numbers just a touch worse.
Yeah. It's crazy to say, like, I would turn down him being the 10th best quarterback this season, but I don't like him behind Kyler Murray and Brock Purdy. I want him to be like 8th in that conversation.
In fantasy, though. So like Kyler Murray with the rushing.
Right.
Like odds are, if you were just saying like who's the better quarterback, if Kyler Murray's right in front of him fantasy-wise, you'd probably say he's behind him otherwise.
He only has Kyler going for 170 more rushing yards and 1 more rushing touchdown, though.
That could be the difference.
Yeah, it definitely could be.
Yeah.
So 10th best quarterback in the NFL. And then when you look at specific numbers, guys, his 27 passing touchdowns is the 6th most in the NFL. And he's tied with numbers merchant Dak Prescott and reigning MVP Josh Allen at 27. So he has Joe Burrow leading the NFL with 34. He has Baker Mayfield at 2nd with 33. Lamar Jackson with 31. Patrick Mahomes with 30. J.J. McCarthy with 29. Matthew Stafford with 28. And then Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, and Bo Nix all tied with 27.
McCarthy also has 16 interceptions, which I think balances out like the bigger numbers elsewhere. Because like the way you sell yourself on him is that
Sam Darnold.
It's just and the weapons. It's like you're throwing to Justin Jefferson, you're throwing to Jordan Addison, and you're throwing some bad decisions in there too. But the raw numbers in the other categories could be bigger.
And the 16 leads the NFL, I believe. 16 interceptions.
Yeah.
6th most passing touchdowns. Plus, he's adding 4 rushing touchdowns on the ground.
I would put heavy money right now if you gave me over under 34.5 most touchdowns thrown by a quarterback.
You would take the over.
Take the over.
Me too. But what was last year?
Probably. Oh no, it was not less because of Joe Burrow. Burrow had 43. Baker had 41. Lamar had 41. Which is, again, I know I had way too much money on Lamar to win that MVP. 41 touchdowns compared to 28 for Josh Allen. One guy was so much better than the other. It's a joke.
But I told you it was gonna. I told everyone it was gonna happen.
Voter fatigue.
It's Josh Allen's turn.
It's his turn.
So stupid. I hate that so much. If it's true MVP, it should just be that season. Erase everything before, erase everything after.
These MVP voters think it's like their job to like make sure the history books of the NFL include everyone.
No, it doesn't. It shouldn't.
Shouldn't.
But you're right.
That's the player's job. If you want to be in the history book, you put yourself.
Historian's job.
That is true.
Like Josh Allen wasn't going to be forgotten because he didn't win MVP.
No.
That year.
Right. No.
What's going to happen now? Josh Allen's going to have like a more deserving season this year, and they're going to be like, "Well, we kind of gave him that one last year, and someone else is going to end up winning this one."
It's just like Jokic this year.
They're going to be like, Mahomes has waited long enough. It's back to his turn."
Right. Jokic had the best season of his career. He's won 3 MVPs. And the best season of his career, he didn't win it.
Yep.
It's crazy. It wasn't his turn, which is stupid. Okay, so when you read those numbers, Henry, the passing touchdown numbers from last year, and we compare them to what Mike Clay is projecting for this year, Guys, I think we just add 10 touchdowns to all of these numbers. Because what happens, and Vegas does this as well when it comes to betting, you hedge a little bit. And that's why, like, when the Broncos had Peyton Manning, the Broncos over-under every year was like 10.5, maybe 11.5. And the over was the easiest bet that you could make because the Broncos were always going to get 12 wins. That's what they did when Peyton was here. But it's like they take in account, like, well, what if Peyton gets hurt? And so all of the numbers, even right now, you can look at the betting numbers and you'll probably find like, wait, the Eagles are 11.5. They're going to go 15-2 or something like that. But they hedge it a little bit. Same with really bad teams. You're not going to find a team whose over-under is 1.5. It's going to be 5.5. So they hedge it up. Everything's hedged in the middle. So my guess is these quarterbacks that are projected to be bad aren't as bad of projections as you would think. Just like the great quarterbacks. Ryan, you said it. The over-under, 34.5. I'd smash the over. Well, I think Mike Clay's just hedging a little bit all of these stats. So I think what you do is you take these numbers and you just add more to the good quarterbacks and probably more to the bad quarterbacks as well in the opposite direction. And I think looking at last year's numbers just perfectly points that out. And that's why I don't think it's crazy to pass on 27 touchdowns and 12 interceptions because do you think the Chiefs right now, Chiefs might not be a good example just because of Mahomes is coming off quite an underwhelming year. Like, what do they have?
Do Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, he has 27 touchdowns and 11 interceptions.
Yeah, no, they're not taking that.
No, they're not signing up for that right now. Jalen Hurts, 22 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. No. Joe Burrow, 34 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He just came off 43.
Yeah, still no.
No. So, I mean, all of these guys. Did I say Jaden Daniels? 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. It's worse than he was last year. So, I mean, probably all of these teams with good quarterbacks are turning these numbers down.
Yeah.
I think the actual rankings, not the fantasy rankings, are interesting.
Yeah.
So Bengals number 1.
But he does this by position group, so it's backups included too, which is interesting.
But you'd imagine to be 90 when it comes to quarterback, at least it's 98% starter and then more of a tiebreaker for the others. But Bengals 1, Bills 2, Ravens 3, Chiefs 4, Eagles 5.
All of those are the same. They all have the
all
same
have like
grade.
a 10 grade.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just assuming because they aren't in alphabetical order.
Maybe.
So he must have put them in some order. Maybe not.
It seems like he gave a grade out of 10, and 4 teams got a perfect 10. Those are the ones you just read off.
Eagles, Commanders, 49ers. But then you get down there.
What are the 49ers doing here?
49ers with Brock Purdy are right in front of or potentially tied with Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert.
How? Why?
Well, because of
I
Mac
agree.
Jones. He's their backup. He provides a lot.
Wow.
I agree there.
I don't think I'd put them in my top 15.
I would have I'd have the 49ers in the next tier below. If
Tua,
not-
Jordan Love, Dak, Kyler Murray, Stafford. Stafford isn't himself.
We have them lower than that.
Stafford isn't himself?
He isn't.
Yeah, he is. He carried the Rams to the NFC Championship game. Or no, I guess it was a play away from the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. But I mean, back in the day, he got to the NFC Championship game.
Back in the day,
He's still good. He's still
get
good.
to the NFC
He's still
Championship.
good.
He didn't even make it to the playoffs.
He's
with
still
the
good.
Or with
but
the Lions.
37-year-old Stafford, if they want to have him down here, I'm not going to argue too much. I think, but then getting down to the Broncos are right behind the Bears and right in front of the Falcons.
Well, and they're kind of tied. The
True.
way he does it, so the Broncos. I said it's out of 10. There were 4 teams with the perfect 10. Broncos are a 5. A 5 out of 10. The other teams with a 5 are the Patriots, the Texans, the Bears, and the Falcons.
So it's all just young quarterbacks.
It's literally last year's draft class. Right?
And CJ
yeah, because
Stroud.
you have
CJ Stroud.
and CJ Stroud. Drake May, CJ Stroud, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Michael Penix.
I think he does put them in order though. Maybe not. I can't find the page.
Either way, they're getting the same
Yeah.
grade.
Totally. So
That's
he said
interesting that
splitting
he
hairs.
has Bo Nix putting up the 10th best stats, but
That's why I wonder.
Fantasy-wise.
I think this
And
has
it depends
to be.
on.
I think he's
yeah.
putting more emphasis on depth than we think.
okay.
It's got to be, right? He's the 10th best quarterback in terms of stats, yet
Sam
below average.
Ehlinger is
Like,
pulling us down here.
Zach Wilson's departure is hurting.
Could be.
I would also say that, like, if he does finish 10th in fantasy points, he's taking a step backward. And if you were to look at all the national rankings in a world where he already is the number 7 fantasy quarterback, nobody has him ranked in the top 10. Like, you look at those rankings and it's all right around here for the most part.
I think Bo Nix, and not necessarily in this category, but Bo Nix is being disrespected quite a bit nationally. I keep seeing lists where they have the Broncos in the bottom 10 of quarterbacks. They have Bo Nix ranked below like Drake May, like just like one thing after another where I feel like maybe because the Broncos were bad for so long going into last year, people weren't really paying attention. And then I always talk about how narratives are written in the first 4 weeks of the season. And so people were just like, oh, Bo Nix sucks, and kind of walked away, and then like probably didn't even notice anything about the Broncos until they were in the playoffs.
Right. And then they tuned into the playoffs and the offense had 7 points.
Yeah. I think that 12-game stretch for Bo at the end of the season is like just being overlooked. And I don't know if people actually saw the type of stuff he was doing. Like, I was very skeptical after the first 4 games. And by game 10, 11, I started saying, like, oh, he's doing franchise quarterback things. And I just don't know if, like, the average NFL person was watching that.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, so the tier below, like, he's in front of guys like Aaron Rodgers, Cam Ward, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Bryce Young, Trevor Lawrence, other guys who you'd probably expect him to be in front of.
Yep. The worst quarterback room in the NFL. Well, there's 2 because there's 2 tied at the number 2. Who would you guess? I know Henry's already seen. So as you guess, Ryan, I'm going to give a shout out to our friends because I want people in the Toyota chat to guess as well. I'm going to give a shout out to our friends over at Empire Today, where you need to make sure that you got the best floors. So do you want to go to an expert or do you want to go to someone that kind of does everything mediocre? You want to go to the expert, of course, and that's what Empire Today does. There's so many big box stores that do everything, and that kind of means they don't do anything. They don't specialize in anything. That's not the case over at Empire Today. Empire Today just does floors, so you need new carpets, you need new hardwoods, you need new floors. Our friends over at Empire Today got you covered. And if you use the code DNVR over at empiretoday.com/DNVR, they're going to give you $350 discount when you use that promo code when you get new floors. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners get that $350 discount when you use the promo code DNVR. That's right, $350 discount using that code DNVR. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/DNVR for full details.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Monarch Money. It's too easy to have your money disappear these days because there's just so many ways to spend it. There's all these apps on your phone. There's delivery food. There's all these different subscriptions to different platforms and all that. And a lot of times you get to the end of the month and you're like, wait, where'd all my money go? I'd like to be able to save some to buy a house or a new car or whatever it may be. And why wouldn't you use a tool that is designed to help you and is loved by the people that use it? That's Monarch Money. Monarch Money is the #1 app when it comes to managing your finances. And it's going to pay for itself with all the money that you're going to save when you start to realize all of the places that you're overspending or places maybe that you're spending that you forgot that you are even spending on. So get over to our friends over at Monarch Money and get control over your finances. Use the code DNVR at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at Monarch Money with code DNVR.
Fellas, we got a new member of our Die Hard community. If you could scroll up just a little bit, Logan, so I can give them a shout out because they dropped in here, and it is coming from
right there.
Right there. It is
Wolf Stark.
Wolf Stark says, just became a diehard. Go Broncos. God bless Bo Nix.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we got him. Boom. Let's go. Welcome to the family, Wolf Stark. We appreciate you rocking and rolling with us. Now, if you don't mind scrolling to the bottom of the Toyota chat, we got some people guessing who the 2 worst quarterback rooms in the NFL are. I'm going to have Ryan guess, but I'm going to give him a hint. One of these teams the Twitter chat has guessed. Jose says Cleveland and Indy. Leonard from 719 says Steelers. Brandon Johnson says Browns and Indy. We got a Jose says the Jets.
So I'm going to guess the Browns.
That's one of them.
Yep.
The other one has not been guessed.
The Giants.
No.
It is worse. It is very clearly worse.
It is.
Yep.
It's worse than the Browns, too. No one's guessed it. Oh, Broncos, too, coming in. Saints.
Yep. No, they suck.
That's a bad room.
Yeah.
They're intentionally bad.
Which is smart. When they're in their position, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Just tank.
They haven't done anything that would tell me that they are attempting to get better at the quarterback position.
Tank for Arch. Bring him home.
Good luck with that.
He's not even coming out this year. Yeah.
The storyline there, oh my gosh, him going to where his grandfather played.
I know this is kind of like a bad thing to say in Broncos country because we love the Mannings, and we do. I think Arch is severely overrated.
Wow.
He just hasn't played enough.
I'm going to be pulling for him.
Exactly. And now we're talking about him being the number 1 overall pick.
Yep.
Yeah.
He is. He will be. I'm a big fan of underdog stories, the small guys that don't get talked about enough. I just really hope that he's able to make it. Speaking of underdog stories that will be talked about so much, why can't I think of his name?
The Bengals?
No. No, it's right there. It's oh my gosh.
Shedeur Sanders?
It's Peyton's son. What's his name? Why can't I think of it?
Marshall
Manning starts high school this coming year.
Wait, where?
Oh, I used to know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's public yet. So let's just say it's going to be a shock to the high school football community in Colorado.
So not Valor. Let's go.
Yep. Not Valor. I believe it's not Cherry Creek either, which would be the two big ones.
Yeah.
So that, though, is going to be a national storyline for the next 4 seasons. This Colorado football is going to get the most coverage they've ever got.
Do we know if Marshall is slated to start, or is he going to start on the freshman team, JV?
That's
do we
a good
know
question.
anything about that?
I don't know about that. I would assume he's going to start pretty quickly, though. At his 8th grade championship game that he made last year, there were 5,000 fans in attendance.
How did I not know about
I didn't know about it either. But how crazy is that? The hype for an 8th grader. Imagine, Arch Manning is the nephew of Eli and Peyton.
Yeah.
This is Peyton's kid.
No, yeah. Marshall Manning. See, that would be sick.
That would be sick.
CU would be future sick. CU buff.
Yeah, imagine if I got to watch Deion Sanders' son and Peyton Manning's son quarterback my favorite team.
Oh my gosh,
ridiculous.
that would be crazy.
Wow, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool.
Also, I feel like it's got to be public where he's going to high school if he starts in a month and a half.
So I've been told the same place by 2 different people, but they both said it kind of on the down low. So I don't know, but yeah, I would think so too.
It seems like that's something that should be available at this point. But hey, don't burn your sources.
Yep.
Okay, so where are we going with this?
Bengals?
What about the
I guess
Bengals?
did we wrap up that conversation?
Yeah.
I guess we did. Okay. Bo Nix, Mike Clay, we want more from Bo.
Yeah.
So now let's get to the Broncos' first prime time game of the season, week 4. The Cincinnati Bengals come to town. Monday Night Football. It's a rematch of the epic overtime game that we had last year where Bo Nix was slinging it. Marvin Mims had 2 touchdown catches, and the Broncos just fell short of the Bengals. How do we see this game playing out? Before we break it down, Henry, take us through how these Bengals are different from this year to last year.
Well, it starts with
trying to tee up you here. Oh, there we go.
So they lost a lot more than they got. I think that's pretty obvious because obviously they spent most of their money just trying to keep their own guys, getting the deals done. So they didn't really have much money to spend on anybody else. Lose Alex Kappa, who was like maybe their best offensive lineman. Off the top of my head,
Oof, that's
Sheldon
rough.
Rankin's gone, Akeem Davis-Gaither, Jermaine Pratt, Mike Hilton, Von Bell, a bunch of starters on the defense. I think they're fine with that.
Plus their defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah. And then like
Where'd he go?
Samaje Perine.
Notre Dame.
Wow.
Yeah. Samaje Perine back there. Shamar Stewart comes in to Daryl Slayton, but I mean they on paper got worse.
Are we allowed to say that Shamar Stewart's an addition right now? Because
No.
right now,
Should we get ready to put Trey Hendrickson as a departure?
Yes.
Yeah. Also, so Jahdae Barron's the only other first round pick who's not signed.
and Shamar.
Yeah, those two.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Because Travis Hunter got the bag and he got the slated contract, but he got it all of the signing bonus up front.
Slotted contract. Just while we're working on words.
What'd I say?
Slated.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
for sure thought it was slated.
No big deal. Yeah.
So so
I
congratulations.
mean, he is slated to make a fixed
He
amount
is.
of money.
Yes.
Okay. So not totally wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I just said it and ran with it, and then I was stopped.
There's some out there.
Yeah, man. Shout out Patrick Smythe.
Yeah. Seriously.
And actually, we actually have a Twitter chat or a super chat about this. If we can pull up the super chat, just since we're talking about it right now, it is about Jahdae Barron, and it's a really good point, Henry. Those are the only two guys that remain unsigned. And it comes in from Elijah Cook in a super chat. It says, should we be getting worried that Jahdae Barron still hasn't signed? I haven't heard any negative buzz, but wondering why he hasn't signed yet.
Yeah. So not
Have we
hearing
heard
any
any
negative
negative
buzz.
You haven't heard any negative buzz.
That's
Patrick Smythe, man. Give that man a raise.
Yep.
Allow me to be the first person to be worried about this.
Okay.
And let me say, don't be worried about
Okay.
this. So just to take you guys, I guess not necessarily behind the scenes, this is all public, but the Broncos typically didn't sign their draft picks until the final 5 days leading up to training camp. And then, of course, the most notable one was Drew Lock. Wasn't signed the night before training camp started. And it was like, oh no, him and Dalton Reisner haven't signed 24 hours before training camp. This is a big issue. And then they end up getting signed.
I always thought it was just because John Elway was out of town.
Yeah, but could have been because of that. And he was a GM for so long that maybe it was that. But most of the draft picks didn't get signed until a week leading up to training camp. Don't worry about this.
Okay.
When you worry is if literally they're practicing and he's unsigned.
Or if he comes out and says, like,
Yeah.
you guys are more interested in winning arguments than
Yeah.
football games or whatever it was.
And if that
Negotiations.
happens, holy cow,
Yeah, that's not happening.
I would be concerned for Jahdae going up against the Broncos.
Yeah, no, that's
yeah.
not going to happen. But
No.
it is, like, it's just one of those things. Can we just do it?
I agree.
Cooler if
It would
we
be
did?
nice.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
It would be nice.
To then not have people wondering about this on June 23rd.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the situation with Shamar Stewart, that is a nightmare. Nightmare.
And, like, do you think Shamar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson are having, like, a support group together? Like, they just
Yeah.
meet up and just talk shit about the Bengals?
Probably.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
So Bengals got worse, or at least
Yeah.
lost more.
I'm not a Bengals believer. I mean, they've been 9-8 back-to-back years. They're paying a big quarterback contract. Like, to me, they just aren't that great of a football team. Like, they're good. They have potential to blow up in any given game, but I don't see them as all that special.
Yeah. You guys remember 2007, how the Colorado Rockies made it to the World Series?
My goodness. One of the best sports years of my life. Just one of the best years of my life.
Yeah, me too. We'll look back at that and say, like, well, that was our chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how the Bengals will look back at their trip
Yep.
to the Super Bowl. Like, it's a poorly run organization that got very lucky to have Joe Burrow. They had the stars aligned for them one year. They had an opportunity to get it done, and they'll never be able to maintain consistency as a good football team because they have a terrible organization. And so they're just going to keep trending downward. And I don't know if they're going to have Shamar Stewart, and I don't think they're going to have Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I mean, they're solid. Like, they have the weapons. They just don't have the depth. They don't have the trenches. They don't have, like, the total pieces to just be able to, like, I kind of feel like this is just who they are, you know? And I guess the case for it is that last year with all the drama, there were guys missing from training camp, and so they had the slow start. Maybe if they would have come out of the gates faster, it would have been different. But I don't know. Like this year, they get the full training camp to get on the same page and maybe figure things out. But at this point, I'm kind of over the Bengals. You know, there's so many good teams in the AFC that we can wait around and see if the Bengals join them. But every year that Joe Burrow cap hit goes up more and more, I kind of think they are what they are.
Yeah, and you guys said
I don't
it
even
earlier.
think they are what they are. I think they're trending the wrong direction.
They could be.
And I disagree with you guys. I think Joe Burrow is going to go to a whole nother level and just demand the MVP.
Is there
year.
another level?
Yeah, there is.
You think
what was
so?
it, 43 touchdowns? We've seen quarterbacks go further than that. I think he's going to be on one. And if this goes the wrong way, he might be out.
Out of what?
Out of Cincinnati.
There's no way.
He would remove himself?
The demand.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, maybe it takes 2 more years or something like that, but I think Joe Burrow is going to be on one. I think this is going to be an extremely, extremely dangerous offense with a defense that's not as bad. I don't think they're going to be good by any means, but 10th worst instead of worst in the NFL. I think they're going to be a better team. I think they're going to make the playoffs, especially because the Steelers are taking a step in the wrong direction. You guys know my feelings on Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that. At least I hope they don't get to 9-8.
Yeah. You were the first ever person to be out on Aaron Rodgers.
Thank you.
Even when he was winning back-to-back MVPs,
No,
you were
I was
out.
Man. I was out. And I've never looked so right on it. Okay, so let's break down where the Broncos beat the Bengals. And as we decided in our future show that drops on Monday, we're just going to have
Friday.
the Broncos.
Back on Friday.
Yeah, that drops on Friday. We're going to have the Broncos just winning all the defensive stats categories until we're proven otherwise, until another team comes and takes it. And my guess is the Bengals aren't going to take this. Really quick, just want to remind you all about Be Like, what was it?
Wolf Stark.
Wolf Stark. Be like Wolf Stark and join our community. Become a diehard over at thednvr.com. Get the intro offer of $36.
Join our community so you don't have to find hundreds of people with the same name as you.
True. Yes.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So join our community, and you can do that by going over to thednvr.com/intro. Going to get you $36 in right now is the best time to do it because it also gets you all the training camp coverage, which is less than a month away. Okay, let's dive into this.
I had the same idea. How many Bengals defenders can you guys name?
And he said Hendrickson does not count. Shamar Stewart.
Yep. Yep.
Who's Hubbard?
Oh, not there anymore.
Wait, didn't they get the
They don't have Sam Hubbard anymore?
They don't anymore.
Who was Shamar Stewart was their first round.
Are you thinking
Logan Wilson?
Yes, there you go. Who starts next to Demetrius Knight, of course.
Can't say I'm
and Demetrius Knight.
Yeah, Demetrius
Yeah,
Knight.
there's 3. Boom.
Hold
It is
on.
not a talented defense.
There's got to be a safety that we've heard of.
See,
You've heard of for sure.
Hilton.
lost
Nope.
Jesse Bates.
He left.
They lost Hilton. I don't know.
They signed okay. Geno Smith is their starting safety, or Geno Stone. Sorry, Geno
yeah,
Stone.
Geno
Stone.
Stone.
Yeah, with Jordan Battle, who was a draft pick a few years ago.
Yes.
Dax Hill is in the nickel. Cam
Hubbard
Taylor Britt,
retired?
DJ
Wasn't
Turner.
he like a young man?
I don't know.
Oh, he did. That was this offseason, right? I think he was 29.
I'm telling you, man,
Yeah.
they might need to pull this franchise out of Cincinnati.
It's seriously.
This is bad. And I also know multiple people who have played there, and it's just as bad as you think.
Yep.
Like what they have to say about it.
I mean, you're so right. Joe Burrow saved them.
Yes.
And still hasn't, fully got to the mountaintop because there's just bad ownership.
They got to do something. The NFL needs to step in.
I don't know if they're hosed. Okay, so let's dive into this matchup.
Okay.
Henry, if you have to run, you can run.
Yes, I think we'll be good.
Okay.
Oh,
we're-
nice.
we're
Second
gonna-
wind.
We're gonna be good.
Yes.
Okay, quarterback goes to Cincinnati.
Yep. Easy.
Yep.
You just said another level. You just said.
I said yeah. I did not say anything against that. Running back.
That's Bronco. Oh, Chase. There's a small Chase Brown community.
Are you part of that
No.
community? Was he a 1,000-yard rusher?
I don't think
I think
so.
he was like better than you would expect.
Yes.
Exactly.
990.
What about the year before?
Wasn't really playing. 179.
Yeah. So 990, 7 touchdowns, 4.3 yards per carry.
Who's his backup?
Zach Moss, who I liked, but again, like
I liked him
Zach
in
Moss or
college.
Audric Estime. Exactly.
Audric Estime? He's not the
With
Broncos
J.K.
backup.
Dobbins.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, just like play style comparison. Like,
I think
you could send me either way.
I think J.K. Dobbins is the best person in this entire group, and
Probably.
he's not even the Broncos' projected starter.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think this probably is Broncos.
So going running back.
Yeah.
Is it the only? No, it's not the only thing the Broncos are going to get
Wide
on
receiver
offense.
goes to Cincinnati.
We sure?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we are sure. Yeah, it was a question.
Cincinnati beats every team in the league.
Everyone. Unless, what about the Vikings?
Yeah, it's Jordan Addison or T. Higgins.
Yeah.
I would probably take T.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably take Cincinnati. Tight end. They re-signed.
Mike Gesicki.
Yeah,
I go Ingram.
I would too.
I'd go Ingram too. I like Gesicki though. Oh, he can't last. Wow. Oh my goodness.
And we needed him to. He's our OL guy, but
He is our old guy. This one's easy though.
yeah, it goes to the Broncos.
Yeah, when they don't have a good
Has
offensive
any team
line.
gotten more than 2 check marks?
So let's think about this. We've got the Colts. No.
No.
Week 1, Titans.
No.
No. Week 3, Chargers.
Chargers.
Yes.
So they got quarterback, running back.
Can you pull that up here?
Who was the tiebreaker that day?
I think we agreed on everything except for quarterback. Wow. So yeah, no one's got more than 2. So Broncos are 4-0 after week 4.
I feel like we've been pretty fair.
I feel like I probably haven't been very fair. But I think you and Henry have been pretty fair. But think about it though. The Titans, Broncos should be way better than. The Colts, Broncos should be way better than. Chargers, they technically had the number 1 defense in the NFL last year.
Where did Hank go? Wrong answers only in the chat.
That's a very good one. And Lawrence, no, I don't think it's because he double parked.
Maybe metaphorically.
And then the Broncos beat them everywhere on defense. I mean,
Yeah. This is what's crazy about football. It was pretty close to this last year.
Yep.
But Joe Burrow is just insane.
Yep.
And like we're being conservative on where we're placing Bo, in these quarterback head-to-head battles because it's a little too early to put him in front of proven commodities in the league. But let's just say Bo Nix takes a massive second-year leap. And maybe he's not at the Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson level.
But
He's right below that. The Broncos have built such a good football team and everywhere else that they are going to win a lot of games.
Yep.
And it makes this so interesting because every year it's always about the quarterback, right? And this year it's kind of not about the quarterback, at least in all of our conversations, because we're like, oh, let's build a roster around Bo Nix. And then when Sunday comes on, it just becomes all about the quarterback all over again.
Yep. 100%. That's exactly right. And it also shows how important the quarterback is and why the Broncos are in their Super Bowl window right now, Ryan, is because they're not paying Bo Nix. The Bengals are paying tons of money to Joe Burrow. So they had to choose. Okay, what do we want? Do we want defense or do we want to keep Joe Burrow happy and keep his 2 receivers? They said, well, we want to keep Joe Burrow happy and keep his 2 receivers. So then they're not paying anyone else on defense. They're not paying anyone on defense, barely anyone on their offensive line. And that's what happens in these situations where the Broncos in their rookie window right now can pay a running back in free agency, can pay a tight end in free agency, can pay 4 out of their 5 offensive linemen, and then can pay all across the defensive side.
Yeah. We didn't tell anyone where you went or why, but people were wondering if you were double parked. And I said you were kind of metaphorically double parked.
I would say, yeah. I would say exactly that.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. To me,
That was quick work.
thank you. To me, the big question is whether the Broncos try the same defensive game plan again. Like, do you just go out there and say, okay, Pat, you got Jamar, Riley, you've got T. Higgins, or does this turn into like a zone thing, a double thing? Sorry, I just ran across the bar twice.
I'm going to try to start talking so you can get your breath back.
Thank you.
I think that you got to be who you are. And what did the Bengals score in that game?
It's a good question.
Especially going into overtime. 24?
Yeah, I think it was tied at 20 going into OT.
So that means the defense was not the problem. Now, there were obviously some big plays, some big third down conversions and things that were tough because of the Riley Moss T. Higgins matchup.
Mm-hmm.
But it also should be noticed that it was Riley's first game back from injury, I think.
Yep.
And and you didn't give up a bunch of points.
Speaking of Henry's bathroom break, to tie this into Riley Moss, he said after the game, sometimes you got to eat a shit sandwich and
there you go,
and then recover from that. I think he's going to recover from this game.
I hope so. But I would say even if the
Can't
points,
think of anything I would rather do less.
Yeah, that sounds really awful. But even if the points weren't bad, you have to remember how that game played out, where the Broncos scored the field goal, Bengals drive the length of the field, get down to it, go for it, pin the Broncos back there. Broncos can't get out of the shadow of their own end zone. It's a tough thing to do. And then 17 play drive from the Bengals to get back there, go for it again.
Yep.
So even if they weren't getting the points, they were like moving the ball very easily.
They definitely
So would you
were.
change?
And
You sound like you would change the game plan.
I would. No, I think it's you double one of them. I think you
double Riley then, or you double T.
I kind of think you put Pat on T.
No.
And I think you double Jamar.
No one has done a better job against Jamar Chase in Jamar's entire career than Pat
his entire
Surtain.
life.
Yes, seriously.
So do you think a double team is more effective than just Pat?
No. I think Pat is more effective than a double team. He's a defensive player of the year.
Oh, I know. He's really good.
And we've seen it twice now. 2 of 2. Pat has dominated
But
him.
if the question is, can you get Riley and probably Brandon Jones over there, or just one Pat Surtain?
But I'm not worried about Jamar Chase. I'm worried about the other side. So, I'm
I mean,
doing
you wouldn't
exactly
be
what I did.
Interesting.
And then I'm having Brandon Jones go over there with Riley.
That's interesting.
If Pat Surtain gets beat in a situation he's never been beat before by an incredible player in Jamar Chase, then I tip my cap. But I trust my best player on my entire team.
Yeah, I mean, he owns Jamar Chase.
He does.
Okay.
More than anyone ever.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It is crazy looking back. 9 catches, 102 yards in that game for Jamar. And again, like, it's not just like, it's not on Pat.
Yeah.
But you do wonder.
It was 3 catches for 14 yards on Pat or something.
But if Pat had been on him all game, is there like a slip, versus like being on him half the game? To me,
I think he was on him 75% of the passing plays.
Yeah.
And so he got in 25% that Pat wasn't on him. Joe Burrow said, "Oh, Pat's not on Jamar. I'm going his way," and he got 80 more yards.
I guess the big thing to me is just play stuff. I think in a vacuum, if you were to say there's a bigger receiver and a smaller receiver, I want Pat on the bigger receiver. In this case, it's different because, like, again, like, your smaller receiver is still Jamar Chase, who's fast. I just see that as somewhere where,
unbelievable leaping ability.
Totally. And you put that like speed on that side, whereas if you double team T. Higgins, obviously you expect the double team to work, but at the same time, like, he's just so much taller than anybody else you put on him. I don't know. I still lean toward you put Pat on T. Higgins. That's just gone. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to leave a safety over the top. That's easy work. And if you go to the other side with 2 guys, then I feel really good about that on Jamar too.
Man,
It's not a bad idea. It does feel a little counterintuitive just because you know that
True.
Pat on Jamar works.
Yeah.
And like teams have been trying to double Jamar Chase week in, week out, and it doesn't always work.
True.
Man, that's going to be such a fun game. It's going to be such a fun game. You think the Broncos win?
Yes.
I do. Yeah.
I would give this to the home team. Last year it was the Bengals, so they won. This year, I'll give it to the Broncos. This is going to be such a fun game, though.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a great game for prime time.
It's just so tough. I mean, you look at last year when the entire game is just in that, or entire first half is just on the Broncos half of the field. If they could have run the ball better, or I guess really there wasn't much they could do. When you're starting drives way back in your own territory, it's really tough to get out. But I wonder if a better running game lets them kind of control the flow of this game a little bit more. I would hope so, at least, because I worry that in a world where you're just getting into like a passing war with both teams throwing the ball 50 times, that's where I get scared. So to me, it comes down to being able to run the ball, and you'd think that they should be able to.
All right.
Do you think that Bo Nix knows that?
We're going to wrap this conversation up in overtime. Go to thednvr.com/.
Definitely doesn't know that. Do you think that Bo Nix knows that the Broncos' ceiling rests entirely in his hands?
Yeah. I think he does.
Because it's just like, the more that we go through this exercise comparing the Broncos to other teams, I'm just like, oh, so the Broncos can just win the Super Bowl if Bo Nix is good enough.
100%.
Yeah.
And you look 2 years out and 3 years out, they could be in the Super Bowl conversation all 3 of those years. Back to back to back Super Bowls. If Bo Nix, how big of a jump does he take?
But like, I wonder what that feels like to wake up every day being like, if I get good enough, we can win the Super Bowl. Like, what do you do?
He's built a little different in a good way.
Yeah.
He really is cool in a way of like, just it doesn't shake him. I don't think he has to think about it, right? Like they say, I don't think about that stuff. No, you have to think about it.
No, you
I
have
don't
to.
think it phases him.
That's what John Elway lived with for his entire career. I mean, that's what great quarterbacks live with.
Yeah.
Just that like there are millions of people who will be happy if I'm good, and they'll be sad if not. Like it's a lot of pressure.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, I love it. This is a great show. Looking forward to tomorrow's show. Really looking to Friday's show actually as well. So make sure to stay tuned
I'm
with
looking
us.
backward to Friday's show.
Yeah, I'm also looking backward
to Friday's show. I love it. Make sure to stay tuned with us this entire week. Just because the Broncos are taking their summer break doesn't mean we are. We're back 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. We'll see you tomorrow then.
We all silly like the mayor.